the gall to come at me and say, oh no, if I homeschool my children, they will be socially inept.
Read the rest of the article, Brett. Read the rest of it.
They'll be weird. I just need them to be normal.
Yes, if you homeschool your kids, they will be weird. Sorry. Homeschool is not good for kids.
This is apparently normal. This is happening in public schools at normal schools in nice Utah. So no.
I'd rather my kid be a furry than a homeschooled Christian. You. So we all know who Ben Shapiro is, but have you heard of Fem Shapiro? You probably have. I was about to say Melanie Mack, but that's the other Fem Shapiro. This is Brett Cooper. So we got Brett Cooper here. She's made quite a few videos during Pride Month. You know, you got Fat Beach Day here. I'm sure that like the fat people are destroying the society. We got men raw dogging on airplanes. I have no clue what's going on with that. But what we're going to talk about is her take on furries. It says some things don't need to be normalized, and as you can tell by the thumbnail, she's not happy about furries. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So let's see what she has to say about furries. Now, before we get started though, I want to talk about like my opinions on furries. I think furries are fine. I think it's cool to do what you want, you know, as far as the furry thing goes, you know, wear your little outfits, whatever. I think the costumes they make honestly are pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I think that furry costumes are here. Let's furry costume. Well, let's make sure that they're safe for work. But like, this is a good example of what I'm talking about. So if you don't know what a furry is, it's the people who wear these costumes. They don't necessarily have to wear these costumes. Some people might argue you're a furry even if you just jerk it to furry porn. Some people argue that like you have to have the porn element in order to be a furry. Others argue that no, you just identify with what I consider a furry personally is somebody who identifies with an anthropomorphic animal of some sort. And then like, you know, they carry on about like various furry activities such as, you know, getting a fursuit. It depends on how deep you want to go with it. Getting a fursuit, going to conventions, drawing furry art, stuff like that. I think having a fursona is the big thing. Having a fursona, or at least wanting one. Having one or wanting one. That's what makes you a furry to me. Because I think just jerking it to furry porn is a little weak, because I think everybody probably jerks it to furry porn, either that or I'm just projecting. But I think that most people have or will at some point jerked it to furry porn. Like it's a big meme that like certain characters like Lola Bunny, for instance, are hot. And what's that one from the Pixar movie, Zootopia? Judy Carrot or whatever. Judy Hopps. Judy Hopps, that's what it is. Judy Hopps is super hot, you know, like usually bunnies for some reason. Stuff like that. I think the big thing is having a fursona. Every fandom has its niche porn, I agree. It's a point of identity. The main thing is you feel you're a furry. If you're a furry, you're a furry. A fursona is a good thing to center it around though. I think that's the big thing, because if you have a fursona or want one, or at least if you identify as a furry, I think that's fair grounds for calling yourself a furry. It's just a self-ID thing. And it's fine. Like, furries do their own thing. They can be cringe just like anybody else. And when I say cringe in this context, what I mean is like you do cringy things like, I know that Rainforest was a huge problem. Rainforest, for those who don't know, was like a convention back in the day that has since shut down due to them doing things like stuffing toilet paper into the pools or something like that, like the pool filter systems. They fucked up the hotels, they fucked up the convention centers, and so like they can't do furry conventions anymore. Now, was that the fault of the furries? I don't know. I personally think that it was probably outside shitters who don't like furries, because unfortunately furries are a big target, especially with the new conservative right-wing movement. So let's take a look, without all that being said, let's take a look at what Brett Cooper has to say about furries.
Welcome back to the comment
Yeah, the
section.
diapers and pizza thing, yeah.
So obviously, we are living in crazy times. And in crazy times, you need to be brave enough to
I
call
agree.
out the things that are ridiculous and absurd, because nothing will change if we don't call it out and laugh at it. But a lot of times, that will cause tension. Your friends and family might get upset. People might try to cancel you on social media, but at least you are sharing the truth and you're not compromising your values. And I guarantee you're helping these people.
By the way, just worth reminding everybody that this is all a set. Like, she's not in her house. She's on a set. She's on a recording set. And it also looks a little bit too perfect, in my opinion. Like, you look at my set, it's just my house, baby. It's just where I live. This is where I vibe, you know. Also, for those who aren't aware, my camera's, like, on YouTube, my camera's broken right now, so we're using the old one. It's fine.
Out in the long run, much like a group of friends that we need to talk about today.
But
actually,
character.
This story isn't really what it seems on the surface, so we have a lot to dive into. Before we do, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the comment section channel if you have not already, and then ring that notification bell so that you never miss one of our videos. All right, so you guys just need to hear this headline, because I stopped in my tracks when I read it. This is from New York Post, obviously, because they post the most out-of-pocket, insane stuff, but they said, I fell in love with a furry on OnlyFans, and my friends have abandoned me.
She's cute as shit. Look at her. Look at them, I should say. When she, sorry. When she asked me to wear it during fun time. Ooh, ooh.
They don't
There you go.
understand. Sir, no one understands. It's not just your friends. No one does. Some people
I mean, you don't have to, you know? Like, I don't understand it personally. I think it's cool, you know, but I don't understand it, but like, I can still accept it and be fine with it. It's fine. They're grown adults. Let them do what they want. And you can even be a furry as a kid as long as it's not sexual. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. You know, be your first self. It's fine.
are just too nice and keep their mouth shut. Nobody gets it. Sorry in advance. But if we're being honest, those are some good friends. Those are honest friends that are willing to draw a line in the sand and give you some harsh truths. And that is something that we all—
I disagree. A friend who does not accept you for your pastimes and what you do, like, if it's not harmful at all, if you don't want to be friends with a furry, don't be friends with a furry. You know, that's not, I think that's stupid. But like, you know, if they take the furry thing and like insert it into so many elements of their life that you can't like take it, that's one thing. But if they're just a furry, like, as a fun activity on the side, who gives a shit? Like, just live and let live, man.
We all need at different points in our lives. And right now, you certainly do. Somebody commented and said, oh, your friends understand fully. Believe me on that, sweetheart. Somebody else said, wise friends. Yes, and it gives me hope for the young men out there who are willing to go, bro,
I disagree.
no, this is way too—
Your friends should be accepting of you, not uncritically, obviously. Everybody makes mistakes. But if your friends are criticizing you for doing things that ultimately don't hurt anybody, then them. They're not your friends. They're pieces of shit.
too far. Absolutely not. We are cutting you off like based young men for sure. I mean, sounds like those young men went to Grand Canyon University. Grand Canyon University is a private Christian university. But anyway, getting back into the story, as you guys saw in the headline, this guy, whose name is Demetrius, fell in love with Jade.
They are a sexy fucking couple, dude. Holy shit. Like, I'm sorry, but you picked the absolute worst furry couple to go after for this. You know what I mean? No, they look great. They look fantastic. No notes.
It was an only furry creator. New York Post wrote, Demetrius and Jade are just like any other young couple in love, except Jade lives as a furry.
I guess are you not allowed to say only on YouTube? Is that a thing? We'll just say OF. Dubsy, cut out when I say fans.
A furry who makes a living catering very publicly to her fellow fetishists. Well, I'm glad that we're at least calling it what it is now, because I remember a year and a half ago, if somebody were to say that on social media, oh my god, you were a bigot, you were insane, you didn't understand, it wasn't a fetish, it wasn't sexual, they were just being who they were. No, it is sexual.
Not necessarily. It's funny that conservatives read sex into everything. Like, there's no, like, there is a sexual component to being gay, but being gay itself is not a sexual thing. It just is a romantic thing sometimes. You know, just like a preference. Yeah, it's a preference, you know? Like, you can be a furry. Like, it's a preference that you have to have a persona. It can be sexual. It often is sexual because, you know, you consider that a part of yourself. And you, as yourself, you're a sexual being. You know, once you become an adult of consenting age, you become a sexual being in many respects. Not everybody, not always, but in many respects you are. And we all like to think of ourselves and our best selves being in a sexual situation rather than, or if you're, as far as you are sexual, I should say, you insert yourself into a sexual situation as like your ideal self in your fantasies. You know what I mean? Or at least I do. So, you know, I think that's understandable.
100%. It is sexual. There's a reason why there's a market for that on Pornhub and OnlyFans. So anyway, I kept reading the article and it was all this big sob story about losing his friends and how his friends were weirded out because now he makes content with Jade and participates in this fetish on her OnlyFans. And then I saw the author citing a Love Don't Judge episode, which they were recently featured in. And you guys know I've reacted to a few Love Don't Judge videos and they are wild. So obviously I had to go watch. Now because of new copyright laws on YouTube, I cannot react to an entire video.
Here, wait, maybe we can do that next. Let's look it up. Ooh, am I allowed to react to these? Will I get copyrighted? I lost my friends because my GF's a furry. Damn, that sucks. Maybe we'll look at one of these afterwards.
Video. I can't play the whole thing for you guys, but go watch it if you're interested. But I will play a clip. Here they are.
I lived with a furry, so Destiny is kind of how we met. My roommate, I was having a furry party at my first apartment. I'm not very keen on the whole furry fandom thing, at least I wasn't. I didn't want to go out. I was stuck in my room. There was a bunch of furries in my apartment. People are just odd that I didn't want to hang out with very much. And she kind of forced her way into my room, but in a nice way.
Okay, so that's basically the story.
Oh my god, what a Rizzler.
Of how they met. Apparently his roommate was a furry, as you guys heard. He didn't like the whole furry thing, allegedly, but then he met Jade, he got into it, all of his friends turned on him, and now they're making only content together, as well as making content for her TikTok page where they make jokes about him
what?
learning that she's a furry and getting over it, like, ooh.
Imagine like breaking your friendship over the fact that your friend has a furry girlfriend. If you ask me, they're just jealous because she is hot as shit. I'm sorry. Like, she is exactly my type. She is just beautiful person. Absolutely beautiful person. You're all beautiful people, but she's my type exactly.
Ooh, like as you guys saw in that video, like taking a step back because my girlfriend's a furry, realizing that she's a furry. They do all of these like reenactments, whatever.
I'd probably be jealous if I didn't also have a beautiful girlfriend slash fiance. Now I keep forgetting.
Their whole brand.
We're gonna get married
but then
soon.
I scrolled down as I was watching this Love Don't Judge episode, and I started reading the YouTube comments. He was a furry. Considering that he goes around wearing the suits and has a persona that she made for him, he still is. He was canceled and left the community, got called out for being a POS and scamming people. His friends left him for those reasons, as the majority of his friends were also furries, which apparently the scamming hasn't changed. He hosted furry parties at his apartment where he was in the fursuit he owned of his previous Sona, went to furry conventions, all of it. It is wild to me that they are just blatantly lying to get people to view her OnlyFans content.
Okay, well, if he's scamming people, that's different. But if we're getting, like, you've already agreed with the premise that if his friends broke up with him, you know, like, in terms of being friends, that it's good, okay? And I disagree with that. If what he is saying is true, that his friends left him because of his girlfriend, that sucks. That's a shitty thing to do, okay? Now, whether or not he's actually a furry, I don't personally give a shit. I don't want to pry into these people's personal lives. If he doesn't want to tell you he's a furry, then maybe you should stop prying into it, you know, if he is one. Now, if he's actually scamming people, so what does it say? He was canceled and left the community. Okay, if that's true, then I disagree with what he's doing, okay? He shouldn't be scamming people. That's bad. But let's parse out which parts of this are actually bad, and being a furry is not one of them.
So it's another scam. It's wild. Okay, here's another one. I'm a furry. This is Jade the Fur and Dime, Demetrius. They're very problematic.
Alec, need a minute to speak about that ugly top? Yeah, it's not the best top. Fashion is a choice, and this is not a great look for you, Brett.
In the fandom. The guy, Dime, was a furry and then got...
I'm a furry. This is Jade the Fur and Dime. They're very problematic in the fandom. The guy, Dime, was a furry. I'm kind of interested in what this drama is. What did they do? I'm not really good at finding the whole story. Yeah, that's the problem I'm having. Does anybody know about this drama? You'll get copyrighted, probably, I don't know. Oh yeah, it's in reference to watching that. Jade Fury rant, r/homestuck. Okay, this is a mystery of grand proportions. I don't know. This would be a good plug though. If anybody in the YouTube, watching on YouTube knows about the furry Jade drama, please put it in the comments below so that I personally can be updated on the situation because I can't find shit on this. Yeah, anyway, let's keep going.
It is wild to me that... Wild! Okay, here's another one. I'm a furry. This is Jade the Fur and Dime, Demetrius. They're very problematic in the fandom. The guy, Dime, was a furry and then got canceled, so he left. They will do anything for clout. I mean, guys, there were so many comments. So many that corroborate all of this, and I don't know where to...
Okay, but that's separate from the fact that they're furries. You can be a piece of shit and not be a furry. You can also be a furry and be a piece of shit, okay? You can be trans and be a piece of shit. You can be gay and be a piece of shit. You can be black or Asian or whatever else and be a piece of shit. Like, just because you are a furry and a piece of shit does not mean being a furry makes you a piece of shit. That's not true, okay? Or that being furry is necessarily sexual.
Find the furries on the internet. I don't know where you guys hang and get this information and chat. I really don't want to know. You guys can keep that to yourself. Love that for you. But the only thing that I found was this from a Reddit post. It was this guy talking about, you know, how there are no real furries left in the furry fandom. It was 3 years ago. And they were all talking about infighting within the furry community and how that has just blown the whole thing.
Oh, it's probably toxic as shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that seems like it breeds toxicity to a vulgar extent.
Up, and this person said, hey, there are furries that are encouraging violence against people that remain neutral or centered when it comes to politics. Fursuiters like Demetrius Trader got death threats of being burnt alive on his fursuit over not wanting to repeat BLM ACAB like the other furries. He got put on lists of Nazi furs when he did not even show support for that awful
Nazi furs to double type furry. Yeah, that's pretty cringe. You probably like shouldn't threaten people with death or burning them over not wanting to repeat BLM and ACAB. Probably not the best idea. Maybe don't do that.
Type of furry. The mentality of with me or against me is pretty much destroying the furry community on itself. Like, this is wild. I don't know if this is the same.
There are people who want to remain apolitical, quote unquote. And I get it. You know, like, okay, somebody doesn't want to say BLM or ACAB. That's not a reason to, like, attack them. I'm sorry, guys. It's just not.
Guy. Demetrius in the video that we just watched
I don't say ACAB anymore.
Demetrius here, but could there be 2 furry Demetriuses that were canceled in the last few years? I don't know. Regardless, it just seemed interesting. If you guys are in this
Mostly
world and you want to
pragmatic
shed light on this, please let me know, because now I'm very, very interested. And also, the thought of furries turning on each other at a convention or in Reddit threads over political fighting just cracks me up. It's just like, it's too good. It's wild. Anyway, back to the point of this.
I love it when people fight, right? I love it when infighting goes on in a completely otherwise, like, you know, a community that has a common interest. I love that. Because I'm Brett Cooper, by the way.
Story. Is anyone really surprised that this is allegedly all for attention? Like, they are furries who make fetish-only content. I would argue that they are desperate to be different and stand out and get attention. I mean, like, look at this furry scene from LA.
That's another thing. It's like, being furry is not a cry for attention. You know, like, there are so many other ways to cry out for attention other than being a furry. Like, sometimes you're just, you can be a furry crying out for attention, but those aren't, like, inherently intertwined. Sometimes you're just a furry, you know? That's all I'm saying. I cry out for attention, okay? I am constantly crying out for attention. That's why I became a YouTuber. And I got my attention, you know? I got invited to a Progressive Victory event with Vosh and We're in Hell and Dreg and all them. And it was awesome. You know, so my cries for attention worked. Content creators such as Brett Cooper are the biggest people who cry out for attention. And like myself.
Pride. This was a special part
yeah, knitting's
of the
a cry
Pride
for
Parade
attention.
in
Yes,
LA.
crocheting.
So first up, we have the people in like
I see nothing wrong here. I think this is fine.
the BDSM and the pup masks. Don't ask. And just wait.
Oh, I see the pup mask. Yeah, I just don't give a shit.
We're gonna go around. Gotta see the people behind them.
They look
Wait,
fine.
here we go. That's freaking creepy. Oh, there they are.
They look fine. I'm sorry, they look fine. Like, I don't see anything wrong here. Nobody's showing bits. They're just in outfits, having a good time. I don't care. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Why do you care so much? Let people have fun. Goddamn. Let people have fun. Just stop. Just stop, Brett Cooper. Stop.
They have arrived.
Stick in the mud.
How did we get from
they're fully
we
dressed?
just want to love one another, we just want to love who we love and get married, to this?
Okay. That's great. More power to you. That's a consenting adult right there. That's a consenting adult. Yeah, that's fine. Marry them. If they want to get married, sure. Why not?
The slippery slope is insane. Like, why? Literally why? And I have no idea why.
It doesn't matter why. F you. Literally doesn't matter why. If you are actually curious, then ask them yourself, okay? This is a bad faith questioning, okay? Because you don't give a shit why. You just are, you just want to get rid of them because you find them degenerate. Like, that's the bottom line. You don't actually give a shit why.
Why people are just standing around applauding for this, for being so brave because you're walking around in your BDSM suit or any of.
Maybe they just like furries. Maybe the people who are, like, there just like furries. You know? And also, I'm sorry, but some of these fursuits were banging. Look. Like, this is amazing. This is art, dude. This is art right here. Look at that. A Minecraft furry. This is really good. Okay? Like, the amount of effort and time that it must have taken and that went into making this is insane. Okay? It's coming from somebody who now crochets shit. All right? Like, that's a lot of time and effort and probably money as well, if this person made it themselves. Now, if they didn't make it themselves or they commissioned it, that's still a lot of time, effort, and money for somebody to create this. And I think that's really cool that, you know, they could support a creator like that. So, yeah, I don't see the problem.
But clearly, the people marching want attention. That is the reason why they're there. And then if you don't give it to them, then they become the victim and you become the problem because you don't understand. Just like Demetrius.
They're not out there for you, Brett. Like, they don't care if you're there or not. I don't think they'd care if anybody's there or not, like, actually watching the parade. They're just happy to be part of, like, the furry community. Sometimes people are just happy to be part of the action, you know? That's fine. I'm happy to be part of the action. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody wants to be part of the action sometimes. That's not a cry for attention. Fursuiters makers are usually also furries. Yeah, of course. No, we'd be fine if you didn't comment on the Pride Parade, actually. Yeah, exactly. Also, what does Brett dare? She cannot date furries if she doesn't want to. That's fine. Well, she has to make sure that everybody else believes the thing that she believes.
was saying about his friends, if any of that was actually true. But in that New York Post article, he said the concern they had mostly was just immaturity, not wanting to do their own research, just listening to what they had been brainwashed into believing is true. I mean, the whole thing
I agree with that.
is just
She's on
ridiculous
full
and
display
absurd.
here.
And I know that people are into some wild, weird stuff, but the way that that has seeped out of the bedroom and into normal, decent society is truly unhinged.
But you're reading the sexuality into it, my friend, okay? If you want to, okay, if you're a consenting adult, you can go wild. Go wild. If you are a consenting adult, all right, by yourself or with another consenting adult, go wild. You can do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Just make sure if it's sexual, you keep it in the bedroom. And if it's not sexual, go wild. Who gives a shit, okay? They're adults, man. They can make their own choices. Like, what do you mean leak out of the bedroom? You're reading that shit into it, okay? They're dressed up in animal costumes. They might as well just be Pixar characters, all right? It's not that deep or that sexual. You are making it that sexual, okay? You are. Should we shun Mickey and Minnie too? Yes.
Like, I mean, last month, students at a junior high school in Utah planned a walkout to protest the furries at their school. There's a headline about this and everything, multiple articles.
All 5 people showed up. I hope they got detention.
Students walk out of Utah middle school to protest furries. I mean, listen to how insane all this
I hope
is.
they got
This is from that
detention.
article. The student said that there are
Here, actually, let's see. Students walk out of Utah middle school to protest furries. Let's take a look. Several students and adults participated in an hours-long walkout from Utah's Mount Nebo Middle School on Wednesday. The reason for the protest, furries. A petition was started online Sunday with an initial target of 500 signatures, a number of signatures that was reached by Wednesday, prompting the goal to increase to 1,000 signatures. The description for the petition says that the administration of the school should more strictly enforce the district's dress code. Specifically, supporters of the petition are trying to get stronger enforcement for the following section of the dress code: jewelry, accessories, tattoos, hair, facial hair, and other elements of a student's appearance that draw undue attention, distract, disrupt, or otherwise interfere with the learning atmosphere at school or at school activities and events, or that create a health, safety, or welfare issue are prohibited. What is a furry? We already know. Why did students... Well, actually, I'm kind of interested in what they think it is. Furry's a fandom. We don't think that we're animals. There you go. I really like the idea of animals that walk and talk, so I'm going to dress up as one. Why did the students protest furries? Students who walked out expressed some of their grievances, even calling for the expulsion and banning of the furries. Expulsion? Jesus. When Bartholomew asked if their parents knew they were out protesting, the students answered with a resounding yes. Their parents are probably the ones who told them to go do it. Several children can be seen holding signs reading "Compelled speech is not free speech." Another one was holding a sign that says "I will not comply." Another sign said, "We just want to learn." That's so lame. The students said there are attacks from the furries every day, but we're unsure of how many furries there actually are at the school. Shouting out numbers ranging from 5 to 100 students. Oh yes, very consistent. Very consistent. It's probably like a dozen kids that have like a furry club. The school's furry population is accused of biting, scratching, spraying air freshener on, barking at, and chasing other students. If there is a person doing that, that is bad. If there are several people doing that, that is bad. But you can be a furry and not do that shit, okay? Obviously that stuff's bad. But being a furry and doing shit that's bad are not directly intertwined. What do school officials say? A lot of the information that's been put out there is completely incorrect and inaccurate. While Sorensen said that there have been issues with harassment or students making others feel uncomfortable or safe, he said most of the claims online are false. Wow, imagine that. Should have led with that. Fox 59. The administration at the school addressed that with the entire student body, and they sent out a couple of emails, Sorensen said. Some of these emails were misinterpreted, and parents took to online formats to voice some of their concerns and questions. Sorensen said students are not dressing up as cats and dogs, and because there is a dress code in place, he doesn't think videos that have been shared online are from Nebo schools. Sorensen emphasized that so they're just sharing videos from other places and saying that it's from the school. Cool. Sorensen emphasized that the main goals of the district are open communication and student safety. Today we had some students and parents choose to exercise their right to assemble and do a little protest they did their little protest. They have the right to do their little protest, for what they perceived. That's a power move, by the way. For what they perceived was something that was happening in the school. It is actually not something that has been occurring. Reports of students dressing as animals are a little bit inaccurate, saying students wearing headbands with ears are similar to students wearing bows and sports jerseys. I agree. Sorensen said dressing up is just what students of this age do. Yeah, like I've seen students wearing fucking tails. I just don't care. Like if at worst it makes them get fun of, and I don't agree with that. But like, it's just not that distracting, man. People look at it and they forget about it after 5 seconds. Utah in general has a pretty good nerd culture, and while furry is still a little bit fringe in that, we are generally pretty accepted, Strudel said. Strudel said kids latch onto things really easily and can see how dressing up at school can be as distracting. Strudel also said it may be best to keep the two separate. School is for learning. It is a place of education first and foremost. I can see some limits being placed on like what you're allowed to wear. Like if you're wearing a full-on fursuit at school, I don't think that that's honestly acceptable. I do personally believe that that's a little bit distracting. But if you want to wear certain elements of being a furry, like having ears or like a tail, like or like fur claws or like there's not claws, they're the oven mitts or whatever they are. I just don't care that much. I don't think anybody cares that much. Like if it's becoming a clear distraction, at a certain point, you got to look at the parents of the kids who are being distracted and say, your kid's distracted by somebody else and how they look. And that is your problem to deal with, not theirs, because they're not hurting anybody. All right. Your child is being distracted because of what a different student is doing that is not harming anything. And that is your problem to deal with. Please deal with it. I think that's fair. You know, that's just me. Kids do shit like this. This has nothing to do with the furry fandom. Exactly. I think a fursuit makes more sense for special occasions. I think a full fursuit would be too distracting for multiple reasons. A full fursuit is even though it's not technically hurting anybody, I do personally believe that one, that's too distracting. Two, it's not really conducive to a learning environment. You know what I mean? I think that's fine. It's fine to set a limit. I've worn cat ears in public once just for fun. I'm not even a furry. I just think the ears were cute. Yeah. So yeah, this is, of course you just show the title. There's a lot more to this story than just what meets the eye, but whatever.
To protest furries. I mean, listen to how insane all this is. This is from that article.
I hope they got
said
the
that
attention.
there are attacks from furries every day, but are unsure of how many furries are actually at the school.
And the article followed up by saying that shit's not true.
Shouting out numbers ranging from 5 to 100 students who identify as such. The school's
Why would you leave that in? That's so inconsistent. That is incredibly inconsistent.
furry population is accused of biting, scratching, spraying air freshener on, barking at, and chasing other students.
They also said that that's not true. None of this has been corroborated.
And people have the gall to come at me and say, oh no, if I homeschool my children, they will be socially inept.
Read the rest of the article, Brett. Read the rest of it.
They'll be weird. I just need them to be normal.
Yes, if you homeschool your kids, they will be weird. Sorry. Homeschool is not good for kids.
This is apparently normal. This is happening in public schools, at normal schools in nice Utah. So no.
I'd rather my kid be a furry than a homeschooled Christian. F you.
I think I'll stick with my plan of homeschooling my future children. Thank you very much. My friend Savannah
Christian
Hernandez
fundamentalist.
commented under this story and said, what do you think Chinese officials who watch our news think when they see this? Well, they laugh. They laugh so hard, they cackle, and then they...
Once again, I bring up, if you were to ask me, well, are you going to leave your child with a furry or a Christian? And I have no clue about anything else that this person, of this person identity, I'm going to leave them with a furry. And I'm sorry for Christians in my chat and in my audience. I'm sorry. But like the number of child molesting and sexual exploitation accusations that have come against the church, the Catholic Church, and even the Protestant Church is just so much higher than anything that we've seen from the furry community. I'm sorry. I know that furries do take advantage of kids sometimes, but it's just so much more common in religious institutions, and that's just a fact. So if you ask me, would you rather leave your child with a furry or a Christian, and that is all that you know about the two of them, I'm leaving my child with a furry, okay? Because they're much less, if I had to pick, because they are much less likely to be molested than by a fundamentalist Christian.
They probably sit down and plot against us because they realize how weak and ridiculous we are. Anyway, because we have to pretend like all of this is just normal, a news outlet literally got a member of the adult furry community to come in and comment on this.
Yeah, and it's like non-furry kids definitely don't bite or chase other kids. They don't bite. I literally had a kid who was like not a furry or anything like that bite into another child's arm when I was a gymnastics coach and like leave marks. Like they almost broke the skin, okay? Kids do that shit all the time. It's called being a kid. And you discipline your kids so that they don't do that, all right? Yeah, it's bad to bite. Teach your kid not to. I don't care if they're furry. Teach them not to bite. Thinking about it, if I ever adopt kids, I'm not going to talk about my faith to them until it becomes relevant. And even then, it's like, whatever. Yeah, it's like, as long as you're teaching your kids good lessons, they can be religious if you want. I don't care. It's when you start teaching them to evangelize and tell them that, like, everybody needs to be Christian or whatever, that I have a problem.
protesting this walkout, and Wokeness posted about this last month and said, what a time to be alive. Yesterday, over 70 students walked out of Mount Nebo School to protest the school for letting furries bite, bark,
70,
and lick
wow.
them. ABC even interviewed a member of the furry community, they, them, to give a comment on the situation. Just watch this video.
This is Strudel, a member of the furry fandom. Though they've been a furry for over a decade, they have their own opinions.
It's a great suit. That is an artistically done suit. Well done.
It's escalated to this point where these kids are being
I think it's really funny that the voice is muffled, though. Sorry.
so distracting to their peers
Strudel, the lower third. Strudel. Oh my God.
that their peers want to stage a
cares?
walkout,
Yeah.
or to have, you know, the next generation kind of muddy our name and not represent it very well. It is kind of disappointing.
Strudel believes there should be some limits.
Continue doing things you like, continue dressing up, continue making art, but maybe let's keep it outside of school hours.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but suddenly I agree with the furry. I agree with Strudel.
Wow, it's almost as if the furries aren't freaks, dude. It's almost as if they agree that, like, there's certain limitations. Wow, they're just a regular community? Who would have guessed? I wouldn't have, surely. Unlike the conservative Christians who want to bring all their shit into school. Let's not forget that. Remember what they just did in Louisiana with the 10 Commandments? Gotta plaster that shit all over the walls. Great. Love that. I'm just saying.
Strudel, keep it outside of school, baby. Keep it at home, in your bedroom, where it belongs, since it is a fetish. Crazy, crazy thought. I can't believe that that has to be said.
not a fetish!
Hey, it's 2024. Decency obviously no longer exists.
My blood pressure can only take so much of these freaks, man. I tell you what. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.